All right, guys, welcome. We have a pretty nice 9-game slate to go over here on Monday. Hope you guys are having a good day so far. There's a decent amount of news we're still waiting on. So as it stands right now, like I'm not building out my lineup. I'm still waiting on. There's probably 5-6 pieces of news that are pretty significant that will change the slate. So gonna need news on that really before I obviously go start building a lineup. So like the news that we need, again, let's just go over that really quick. So Beal is questionable, Vucevic is questionable, Jaylen Brown is questionable, Kyle Lowry is questionable, Garland is questionable, Drew Holiday doubtful, Jeremy Grant is questionable, Horford is questionable. So there's actually a decent amount. PJ Washington's status is up in the air. This is probably the first slate NBA where we have a lot of news that we are waiting for. So, yeah, again, this is going to be one we're going to have to wait for that news and wait to make some changes. Now, the positive here is we have a lot of games that are early, right? I think we have, what is it? Yeah, the first 7 games are within an hour of lock. So, hopefully we do get all that news, pretty much around the same time. But, yeah, make sure if you guys are coming in to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And let me know what questions you guys got. Again, it'll be a general Q&A live stream, question and answer. So throw some questions in the chat. I'll give you my answers. And, yeah, we'll kind of go from there. So let's get it, guys. Nasir Little. Yeah, so that is one piece of news that we do know for Portland is that Norman Powell's out. So Nasir Little started the second half last game. He played 27 minutes. Historically, he's not the best point per minute guy, but he's sub 4K in a high total game. I'm perfectly fine going to Little for value. I think there's a chance maybe Nance starts too, but I would guess it's going to be Nasir Little. So no issue there. Yeah, Grant Williams, 3,700. Boston has a lot of guys that are up in the air. So they could be pretty thin, right? We have Brown. We have Horford. I think Langford is doubtful. Yeah, doubtful. So don't expect him to go. He was playing like 15, 20 minutes a game. So we could have Grant Williams have to step in and play some big minutes. 31 in 2 of the first 3 games. He only played 10 minutes against Toronto. Historically, he's not the best point per minute guy. So I went over in my YouTube video. Normally, he's an awful point per minute guy, but he's, again, really cheap. It's a decent matchup. And if they are missing Horford, Brown, he probably starts. So, yeah, again, I'm waiting for that news, right? Patrick, how's it going, man? Williams in my lineups. Yeah, again, we need to wait for that news. NAW, Duarte, Barnes, Little, Nurk, Brogdon, Tatum, and Precious. I think it's a decent contrarian build. Value kind of depends on these injuries, so we might have a lot of value. We might not have a ton. So, again, as I said, it's kind of hard to say right now whether or not I want to go balance or stars and scrubs. Really streamed it. Yeah, I've been trying to get, if I'm doing a YouTube live stream, try to get a little bit earlier just because we got NFL, and I always do a Patreon live stream before lock as well. Sean V, what's going on, man? I haven't heard from you in a while. Hope you're doing good. Chris, how's it going? Let's see. Tommy, what's up? Bill, Brad, let's get it. Sexton, that New Orleans starter, if Hart is out. Oh, Herbert Jones, you mean? Yeah, so Herbert Jones is at least in play. He's a good defender. He's really not out there for his offense, right? But he has played 29 minutes the first couple games, or the last 2 games that Hart has been out. So, it's okay value. He's probably not going to give you a big game, but if he gets to 15 to 20, you'll probably be happy with that. Sexton, I really hate playing him, but he is viable at a sub 7K, especially if Garland's out. Now, Garland, I thought I saw news that Garland went through shoot around, so that would mean that that most likely he's probably going to play. So yeah, Dame time or PG. I like that late night hammer, guys. Yeah, that late night hammer. I think it's the highest total on the slate. It's 234.5. Yeah, so it looks like it's the highest total on the slate. Neither team really plays defense, so I'm fine stacking that game up for tournaments. I like it. Claxton's fine. He is cheap. He's a solid point per minute guy. They're resting Aldridge. The only thing I'll say about Claxton is he's prone to foul trouble. And he did only play 17 and 18 minutes last couple games with no foul trouble, so that's not the best, right? If we're only going to get 15 to 18 minutes from Claxton, not the best play. Again, Aldridge is out, so maybe those minutes go up. However, they do still have Blake Griffin that's coming back now. They do have Paul Millsap they can use off the bench. Tyler Hero again tonight. So I would say he's probably a good question, Daniel D. I would say he's probably the safest option in Miami right now. The issue I have with going to guys like Jimmy and Bam Adebayo is the spread in that game. It's like a 14-point spread, I think. Where is it? I have to refresh. Hold on. But I think I saw it was at least double digits, right? So the issue with paying up for one of those guys is there's a decent chance that game blows out. And if you only get 3/4 from the main guys from Miami, you're not going to be too happy with that. And yeah, it's a 13-point spread right now. So Hero is a guy that a little bit, cheaper, a couple $1,000s cheaper than those two guys. And he probably also gets maybe a little bit of blowout run since he's coming off the bench. So I think Hero is the guy you're going to feel the best about in that game. Taking a chance on Millsap, he's viable. The issue I have is there was no Blake Griffin last game, so they were thin on bigs. And Millsap still only played 8 minutes, I should say. 8 minutes. And they're going up against Washington, who, Gafford and Harrell are bigs, but they're not like traditional. They're not like massive bigs, right? You don't really need like a big center out there at all the time. They could go small if they wanted to. So I think Millsap's worth a look. I'll say this. If I knew Millsap was going to play like 20 minutes tonight, I would probably play him. But I also think there's a chance he plays under 10 minutes. I feel like Reggie Jackson, Knight, RIP your lineups. Yeah, Reggie and Bledsoe is a tough one for me. I think both are in play at their respective prices. You would think Reggie Jackson's going to be the better of the two, but it's been Bledsoe the first couple games. So again, I question, is Eric Bledsoe now decent again? I don't know. I don't know what to make of that situation. So they're both in play for tournaments. Do you like CJ for cash? My issue with CJ is he's had two really good games in a row. I feel like his ownership is going to be inflated, but it is a high total game. Again, 57-43. This is going to come down. CJ McCollum's not going to average 50 fantasy points a game. So I think he looks decent. The only thing I'll say is I think the ownership is going to be inflated, and it feels like chasing a little bit. I think it's a solid option. No issue if you go there. But in GPPs, the ownership is going to be higher than it should, in my opinion. Thoughts on NAW, Edwards, Barton, KD, Nurk, Caruso? I think it's a pretty solid build. Yeah, Nwora, I would think it's over 20 minutes off the bench. Caruso's been playing big minutes off the bench. You guys know my love for Nurkic. I think he's a safe play. Plays around 30 minutes in a high total game. I think it looks pretty good. Edwards, that's another high total game as well. He's played well last couple games, so I really have no issue with it. Washington, Brooklyn stack. It's a high total game. I think that's, what's that at? Or do they not have it up right now? Oh, they do. Yeah, 228.5 over under. 6.5 point spread. It's like a little bit of blowout risk, but if Brad Beal plays, I think there's less risk that game blows out. With Aldridge out, do you think the Nets go smaller with Bruce Brown? I think it's possible. Yeah. Now, would I roll the dice in Bruce Brown? You can make an argument for a couple of those guys off the bench there for the Nets. All I'm saying is I really don't trust Steve Nash and what he's doing. It's kind of like how I don't trust Steve Kerr in his bench rotation. Basically what I said last night was all right, I would think Otto Porter and Bjelica get a lot more minutes with Iguodala out. Well, one of them did. Otto Porter did. Bjelica, he didn't play in the second half. So I don't necessarily trust Steve Nash, especially with Bruce Brown getting a DNP the first game. Alize Johnson, so if Vucevic is out, he starts, he obviously looks like great value. He's a good point per guy. However, he's an undersized big, but his matchup is kind of like going up against an undersized big against Precious Achiuwa. So if there is no Vucevic and Alize starts, I think he's a really solid value play. They could also start Tony Bradley, who has yet to really play any big minutes for the Bulls. He's another backup big they do have. Any word on Jaylen Brown? Nothing yet. Again, Boston, we're still waiting on a couple pieces of news. Little or Simons? I'm guessing that's Simons, right? Anthony Simons. So Simons probably has a little more upside. He's better on the offensive end. However, does Simons play more with no Norman Powell? I'm not sure if he does, right? Because I think he would play more, obviously, if there's no CJ or Lillard. Maybe they run more 3-guard sets. But, the biggest minutes bump is going to go to Nasir Little, most likely. Hill, Little-ish, Grant Williams, or Nwora. It's hard to say right now because we're still waiting on a lot of news, right? So, I'll say Hill right now I think is the safest because Drew Holiday is not expected to play, and Hill probably starts and plays, 25-ish minutes, which makes him decent value. Again, he's not the best fantasy player, but if he's going to play 25 minutes in a good matchup against the Pacers, I'm fine with it. All right, guys, we're already at 150 concurrent viewers, only 35 likes. Make sure to hit that like button if you do enjoy. I will be live for another 20 minutes answering some questions. Claxton viable? I think he's viable, yeah. Only issue is the minutes haven't been as high last couple of games, but there is no Aldridge. Again, though, if Millsap to do it, Blake Griffin coming back, going to be a very, very difficult slate. Yeah, I agree. There's a lot of good spend-up options. So far, Who you have for value on the slate besides Williams and Little? George Hill, Nwora, and then, again, possibly some other guys depending on injury news. Dennis Crusoe, Little, Mobley, Capella, Lonzo. So it's Capella's been on a minutes limit, so I'm not sure if I go there unless we hear news for sure. There's no more limit. So yeah, keep an eye on that one. Value pricing is gone. Yeah, I kind of like it though, right? It's when we had slates, previous days where there were just clear values, right? Like the Memphis guys last slate, the Memphis guys 2 slates ago. You had Duarte 2 slates ago. You had the Toronto guys 2 slates ago. It's not really fun when in GBPs all those value guys are so high owned because then it like forces everyone on the same build. I like it more like this when the value's a little bit thinner. So I prefer it like this, yeah. Let's see. Brogdon, Duarte, MPJ, Wagner, or Chu. Yeah, Franz Wagner, another value. He's not the best point per guy, but he played massive minutes last game. I think that's fine for GBP. 7.9 in utility for cash. So that's a good question. I see why you're ending up with CJ there. Brogdon also looks pretty. I think I would have small lean to Brogdon over CJ, but that would be really close. Like I do like Jonas Valanciunas a lot today too. He's just playing more minutes, right? He's playing way more minutes than last year. He's going to play, if the game stays competitive, he's going to play at 35 plus minutes, right? This is a blowout. This is a blowout. In the game that stayed close, he played 36 minutes. So historically, Jonas Valanciunas is a great point per minute guy. The only thing I will say is he's going up against Cat again, and there's potential for foul trouble. He had 5 fouls last game, so that's the only risk. I got with Brogdon as less risk for foul trouble. I know Brogdon's your boy, so I think you go Brogdon. The ultimate DK lineup of Hero, NAW, Duarte. I like that, yeah. Any interest in McDaniels? So he would be someone I would look to if if a lot of the questionable guys end up playing, then I would have more interest in Jaden McDaniels. 26, 27 minutes, probably going to play mid-20s minutes. Probably gets you somewhere between 15 to 20 fancy points. What do you think is fair value? And then what you asked about, who was it? Oh, Monte Morris. So what's Monte Morris's price? He is 4.4K. Yeah, I think that's relatively decent value too. Hasn't been amazing. They do have some other guards out the bench that will get some minutes, but close to 30 minutes from Monte Morris in a decent matchup. I'm good with it. CJ Nurkic, or should I try to get Paul George in one of them? Well, Paul George is probably the safest option. We had to pay a premium for him. So if you're confident with a value, then go Paul George. If not, then I'm fine leaning CJ or Nurk. Scared to go to Wagner and Caruso in cash. Like, Caruso's been playing big minutes. So, I think he's relatively safe. 27, 20, yes, he's coming off the bench, but these minutes are pretty secure for him. He's handling the ball. I'm okay if you go there. Again, there might be some better value depending on injuries. And same with Wagner, right? As I said, Franz Wagner is really not the best point per minute guy, and it's a tough matchup. But look at these minutes. 32, 34, and 39 minutes. That seems pretty good. Like Hero over 31 fancy points. If Lowry's out, yeah, I probably would. So we already went over that. Nurkic season. I like Nurk. I think he's a safe play. He'll play around 30 minutes. It's the highest total game of the slate. So I think he's a pretty safe play. You like the showdown tonight? Seems straightforward for you. Sometimes it's a good one, sometimes it's a bad one. The late game, yeah, I feel like the late game showdown looks pretty good. Travis, what's going on, man? Let's run these likes up. Yeah, guys, again, if you enjoyed, just make sure to hit that like button. We're closing in at 200 concurrent viewers. Appreciate it. LaMelo low owned tonight. Yeah, I think so. The issue with LaMelo is the minutes. He's played under 30 minutes the first 3 games, but he'll be productive when he's out there. There's no Rozier. So I'm good going to LaMelo. Again, if he was playing 35 minutes a game, I would probably be playing him tonight, but for some reason, they're keeping him under 30 minutes, even in competitive games. Brogdon, Hero, Ross, Giannis, Collins, Herter. So I'm at as high on the secondary guys for the Hawks. Peyton Pritchard, probably not for me. What's his price at? He's a flat min price. he's just not getting a ton of minutes. Now, maybe if all those questionable guys are out for Boston, maybe he plays a little bit more. Thanks, Patrick. Appreciate it, man. You too. Thoughts on Miles Turner? I think he's fine. He had the one massive game 2 games ago. That's a complete outlier for him. He's going to play. He got massive foul trouble this game. More often than not, he's probably going to play. I mean, Milwaukee, the issue I have with Turner, I guess, is there's no Brook Lopez, okay? So does Miles Turner need to be on the floor here? I would say probably not. Even though he's a good defender, they might not need him to play. Like, they might just play Sabonis to the 5 without Brook Lopez. So I think he probably plays mid-20s minutes, maybe a little bit more. But, yeah, no real strong lean there. Claxton, I think Claxton's viable. Again, though, the only concern is sub 20 minutes the last couple of games is not great. And, again, we do have Blake Griffin coming back. Carter Jr., I like Orlando. He's probably one guy that might lose some minutes if the game blows out, one of Carter Jr., but he's been a good point per minute guy. DeAndre Hunter out? Okay. I don't think he wasn't questionable, was he? DeAndre Hunter? Like, was that just kind of out of nowhere? I don't remember seeing him questionable. Yeah, he wasn't. So, Hunter's out. Yeah, Reddish probably becomes more in play. He's been solid last couple games. I'll just say this. Like, I just never really trust the Atlanta wings. The only guys I really trust in Atlanta are Trey and the 2 bigs. So, yeah, Reddish becomes more in play, but it's not like a plug-and-play for me. Dame, NAW, Paul George, Noora, Nurk, Hill. Yeah, that looks good. OG Collins or MPJ, GBP. It's probably going to be MPJ. The price looks really solid for him. Now, the floor is relatively low. We saw it the last game, but like his usage is going to be up without Jamal Murray. Thoughts on Chris Duarte? I don't love the price, but I think he's a fine filler play in the mid-range. Would you play Giannis and Sabonis in the same line? You can. That game's a higher total game. Sabonis is going to play big minutes. Giannis, if he stays out of foul trouble, probably plays around 35 minutes. Phenomenal matchup for Giannis. Yeah, get that takedown through dollars. Rubio, go if no Garland. Yeah, but Garland went through warm-up, so I'm expecting Garland to play. But if he's out, then Rubio's going to start and probably play at least 30 minutes. Bay smash me and a huge GBP. Yeah, Sadiq Bey. Sadiq Bey is a solid option, especially if there's no Jeremy Grant. Like, he's been playing really good for Detroit. I think he's going to be, take a big leap forward this year from his rookie season. 33, 34 minutes. We'll get a usage bump if there's no Jeremy Grant. I'm curious to see what the Pistons do with the starting lineup. Like, does Kelly Olynyk move in? I don't know who they start if Jeremy Grant's out. But yeah, I haven't. That's one thing. Like, Twitter DMs, I almost never check. Maybe once every couple weeks. So I usually do it and try to catch up on all of them. But yeah, apologize if you guys DM me there. I rarely look at Twitter DMs. Do you think it's viable to have both MPJ and Jokic in the same lineup? If the game says competitive, I think it's fine. Jokic is a super high floor and MPJ is underpriced. PJ Washington out. Okay, yeah. Miles Bridges to the moon. Hey, Bridges has been playing really well. He really has. He's 7.1K. I don't think he continues to play this well, but, like, hey, you can't deny what he's been doing. Same thing I'll say about Harrison Barnes, right? You can't deny how well he's been playing. You can't deny how well Miles Bridges has been playing. I don't think he continues to average 40-plus fantasy points a game, but I don't think he's out of play. Miles Bridges Day, definitely viable. Precious or Carter Jr.? Well, if you have the salary for Carter, probably Carter. But Precious is also a lot cheaper. Miles and LaMelo. Yeah, I think both are good options. Again, LaMelo, the only concern there is the minutes, right? Harrell or Precious is a good question. It's basically the Spider-Man gif for those two guys, right? They're basically the same player, energy big. They look alike too. I think, taking pricing into consideration, probably a small lean to Precious. But I think both are viable options. Harrell has been getting a little bit more run because of Gafford foul trouble, which he seems to always be in foul trouble. Lonzo Caruso, Little, Mobley, Jonas, Morris, Hayward, Ingram. Is that Marcus Morris? Which Morris is that? There's 3 Morrises. Marcus, Markieff, and Monte. Carter Jr. Yeah, Carter Jr. is fine. Clint Capella, 20 rebound game. The only thing I'll say Capella, again, is I think he's still on a limit. 21, only 27 minutes in a close game. Like, 27 minutes, that's not great. But he is sub 7K, so I think they're kind of taking that into consideration. Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree with that, right? I feel like Bridges is going to be popular. So, like, A chalky Miles Bridges above 7K, that might be one where I'll be willing to fade. What ball brother do you like? That's a tough question. Let's see. They're both 7. Right, LaMelo's 7.8 and Lonzo's 7.1. I think the upside is higher on LaMelo. So if it's like straight up, it's LaMelo. If it's point per dollar, I think it's really coin flip. George Hill's a cheap play. Yeah, so I kind of went over that. He should start without Drew Holiday. You're not going to feel great about George Hill. Like, he's not going to really win you a GBP, but it's what he allows you to get into your lineup, right? He allows you to get more stars. And so, like, if you can get 15 to 25 fantasy points from George Hill, I think that's fine. Again, I expect him to start and play 25 to 30 minutes. It's a good matchup, so for sure. LaMelo voluntarily sat last game because Ish was playing so well, said it summer. Really? Okay, that's at least good to know. Yeah, Ish has been solid off the bench. So I would think LaMelo probably normal game plays 32 to 33 minutes. 3,900 power 40. Yeah, so it kind of depends. We need some more news, but there's a couple viable options here. You have Grant Williams at 37. You have Nasir Little at 38, who probably starts. Neither you're going to feel amazing about. We talked about McDaniels from Minnesota, I should say. I think it's fine value. So those are a few options. If you want to roll the dice on a Paul Millsap and hope he plays more, I get it. Again, if I knew Paul Millsap was going to play 15 to 20 minutes tonight at 3.3K, I would probably play him. Stars and Scrubs build good tonight. I think it could go either way. It kind of depends on the value, right? If a lot of these questionable guys end up getting ruled out, then it's going to open up more good value. If a lot of them play, then maybe the balance looks a little bit better. Viable to get both MPJ. Yeah, if that's a game, the only thing I'll say is potential blowout for that game, right? So if you play them both and the Nuggets blow out the Cavs, well, you're dead. Thoughts on Kelly Oubre? His price is still up a little bit too much, I think. He's 5'7". Like, if you landed him as last piece in, I guess, but like, I'm not really going out of my way to play Kelly Oubre. DeMar or Mobley? Another good question. I'll say DeMar, but that's pretty close. Insane value tonight, impossible to decide what to play. Heard a decent 5,000. Let's see. Brago, when asked about Wallace's minutes, said he tried to put him back in last game, but LaMelo didn't want to go back in. LaMelo said they're doing fine without me. Really? That's kind of surprising that he said that. I can't imagine a coach telling me to come in the game. Like, no, they're doing fine without me. Huh. Interesting. LaMelo, Duarte, Middleton, KD, Achua, Hill. I think that's a fine build. The Stars and Scrubs build good tonight. Again, kind of depends on the other questionable guys. Plumlee with no Washington. I do like Plumlee as a DFS player. However, the price is 6.5. So I think he plays 25 to 30 minutes. If he was 5K, then yeah, but he's just a little bit too pricey. I like that game as part of a stack, the late night hammer. So yeah, I'm good at that. All right, guys, we're over 200 concurrent viewers, 66 likes. Can we try to get to 100 before we get out of here? I'll be live for another 5 minutes. Can stay on for maybe a little bit longer if you guys have any other questions. So we're under that, under 4K play. Yeah, so it kind of depends, right? It's hard to say right now on the really cheap guys. D. Russ bounce back. I'm good with him for tournaments. Like the matchup there. Collins only played 20. He got in foul trouble, John Collins. That's why he only played 27. Would expect him to play low to mid 30s in a close game. Lonzo, Simons, Trent, Little, Giannis, LaMelo, Reddish, Jonas, DK. The only thing I'll say about Simons is I'm not sure if he gets a minutes bump. He might play a few extra minutes. Again, though, he's gonna play the 1 and the 2. Does Portland want to play 3 guards out there a ton? Lonzo with Vooch out. Good with it. Would get a usage bump to the rest of the starters there. 5.2K utility for cash. Let's see. 5.2K. So, no one really at 5.2K there. Suggs. The issue I have with Suggs, he's been so up and down, right? So, I don't know if I can trust that in cash in this matchup. The upside is there, but probably not a cash game play. I might rebuild. There's really nothing I feel great about. Kevin? I've heard some Kevin Huerter talk. I don't really trust the wings from Atlanta. That's what I said. I don't really trust them. Yeah, Reddish is viable. It might be a rebuild situation for me, or just go to Precious at 4.5K. But there's really not much in that range that I love for cash. All right, let's see. How do you feel about Rubio? If Garland's out, I like Rubio. Caruso or Ish Smith? Caruso for me. Nasir Little or Simons. So I think Little will get the biggest minutes bump. Now Simons probably has more upside than Little, but like I'm not sure if Simons plays a ton more without Powell. Like I think it's gonna be Nasir Little, maybe Larry Nance to get that minutes bump. Nurkic over 14.5 points. I like it. Little Simons. Who gets the most ownership? I'm not really sure. I need to see how the rest of the guys that get ruled out will be. Yeah, right? Like it's really surprising that LaMelo said that. Ball, Hero, Hayward, Little, Jonas, Reddish. Again, the Atlanta Wings, like I said, are just fine plays. I never trust them. I never feel good about playing an Atlanta Wing. Atlanta Wing being Hunter, Reddish, Gallinari, Bogdanovich, the group of like 5 forwards for Atlanta that all play like low to mid 20s minutes or so. I just never have a good feel. I know there's no Hunter, but like they'll add Solomon Hill to the rotation, right? Or Solomon Hill will get more minutes. It's never one I feel great about. Hero tonight, yeah, I like Hero, especially if there's no Lowry. Favorite center under 6.5. Let's take a look there. 6.5K. Ooh. I would think Robert Williams bounces back here against Charlotte, especially if there's no Horford. So I'm going to say Williams if there's no Horford. Or you can consider Mo Bamba. I think Bamba has a good amount of upside, but there's a little bit more risk with him. Potential foul trouble going up against Bam Adebayo. CJ or Brogdon? Yeah, small lean to Brogdon. That's pretty close. Devontae Graham underpriced? A little bit. What do you think about Terrence Mann? My issue with Terrence Mann for tonight is Batum's back, so his minutes went down. He only played 25 minutes last game. Utility and under 8.2. Good question. Let's see. Ooh, Ingram's 8.3. I'm pretty high in Ingram. You can't go there. I like the upside a lot in JV if he stays out of foul trouble, but that one is a little bit of a risk, right? Because JV's playing massive minutes. Is Harden cooked with no... Yeah, I get what you're just saying there. No drawing those fouls. No, I think Harden looks pretty solid tonight. I think he's had a couple bad games, but like sub 10K Harden without Kyrie Irving going up against Washington. I know he hasn't been great, but Harden's probably going to be lower owned than he should be. That's one where like I really like trying to buy into guys who I know, yeah, they had a couple bad games. We know James Harden's a really good player, right? So that might be one where you could buy low on James Harden and ownership is going to be lower than it should be. Like if Harden had back-to-back 60 fantasy point games and he was 9.5K, he would probably be the highest owned guy tonight. But since he had a couple letdown games, ownership is going to drop, right? And as I always say, I want to buy into guys when their price is dropping and their ownership's dropping, and I want to fade when guys' ownership and price are going up, right? So like, for example, a guy like Miles Bridges, I completely get it. He's been phenomenal. I don't think he's going to continue to average like 45 fantasy points a night. There's no Washington. The ownership is going to inflate on him. That's not one where I like to buy in GPPs. I like to buy when the ownership and the price is dropping. PJ Nurkic or Giannis and Hero. So depends on Lowry. I'll say PJ Nurkic right now, but if Lowry gets ruled out, it's going to be the second one for me. Beal's in. Okay. All right, cool. Do you like Brogdon, Sabonis plus Hill and Giannis stack? I think it's fine. That game definitely has potential to shoot out. I don't. Yeah, no college basketball. If I had more time, I would for sure play it, but that's like pretty time consuming. There's not a lot of info out there. It's kind of like summer league basketball where I would have to devote all my time to it. So with NBA and NFL going on, I just don't think I'll have the time. And I don't want to kind of like half-ass it and do like, kind of cover it, but kind of not. So I'll probably not do it. Paul George or Towns? Paul George. Any love for Paul George? I like him. He's great matchup. He is going to be super high usage for this team. I like him a lot. if Trey starts hitting some shots, yeah, Trey's always in play for tournaments. Beal's in. Okay, I'm kind of glad Beal's in. I didn't really want to deal with the headache of, the price coming up on Dinwiddie and Kuzma. Like, I don't want to even think about Roll and Neto. Do you think Chicago can blown out now? No, definitely not. They're playing Toronto, right? No. Caruso or Hill? Caruso's got more upside, so tournaments, Caruso, Cash, Hill. PJ Dozier, pivot off, Hill, 3.5K. So, what happens if the game turns into a massive blowout? That's my question. Does PJ Dozier get run? Or do they go here if the game turns into a massive blowout? Who they said was going to be in the regular rotation. So, like, I get where you're going there with Dozier, but I'm not convinced he gets the blowout run. Rubio or Barton? Barton if Garland is in. If Garland is out, Rubio. Paul George is a bonus. It's a good question. Small lean to PG. Brogdon revenge game narrative. Yep. Any Terrence Mann interest. The issue is the minutes, right? Because I think he only played mid-20s. Yeah, so with Batum in, he only played 26 minutes. He played 39 because Batum was out, so not a ton. Prize picks, yeah. If Giannis is still at 54, I smash that over in Giannis, right? It's 3 points for stealing a block over in Prize picks. If he stays out of foul trouble and the game stays competitive, Giannis is going over 54. Yeah, thoughts on Montrez? Fine option. He'll get more minutes if Gafford gets in foul trouble. Utility 6.5K. I think we might have just answered that. I'll say Hero right now, assuming that Lowry's out. Yeah, it kind of depends. Right? Best value, like, I don't know because we're still waiting on a lot of injury news. Right? There's still 5 or 6 guys that are still questionable. I would normally fade Bridges also. Yeah, I get it. Again, I completely get people that play Miles Bridges tonight. It's probably one for me that I'm not going to go to, but, like, I 100% get it. If he goes for 40 fantasy points, I would not be surprised. Who takes a hit with Beal playing usage-wise? So Dinwiddie, probably a couple less minutes, and then obviously usage is going to drop in Dinwiddie and Kuzma. So really, those are the 2 guys that would have got the biggest bump with Beal out. So subtract some usage from Dinwiddie and Kuzma, and subtract probably a few minutes from Dinwiddie. Brogdon, CJ, Ingram, Tatum in the same build. I think it's fine. Nice balanced build. Yeah, Nasir Little, if he starts, is decent value. He's not the best point per guy, but if he starts, probably plays mid to high 20s minutes. Yeah, so, again, I think I'm fine with Nasir Little. Edwards or CJ, ooh. That one's basically truly a coin flip. Brown is playing. Okay, wow. Horford out, Brown is playing. All right, so that I did not expect because Jaylen Brown missed the game yesterday, so I figured he would be out again today. Okay, so that kind of throws a wrench into things, right? So Brown's being in, definitely downgrade Tatum, and then Horford and Langford are out. So Rob Williams probably gets a good amount of minutes at center. Grant Williams probably doesn't start now, so now he's not the best of value. So we'll see what Boston does with the starting lineup. Do you think we'll adjust more? Portland plays small ball or Clippers go big? That's my only concern with Nurkic, is the Clippers like playing small ball. So, like, is there a chance that Nurk isn't in the closing lineup? I think that's an outside chance, yeah. All right, guys. Well, that, I think, is going to do it for me. Stay on for an extra 5 minutes. But I'm going to call it on that. So, good luck on this 9-gamer. It's a good slate. Let's hope for some big winners. Hope for no random blowouts or foul trouble. And I will see you guys back here tomorrow. I think we have another solid slate on Tuesday. So enjoy your night, guys, and good luck.